Good morning. My glasses broke just a few minutes before getting up here, so we'll see how I do. I'd like to welcome all of you this morning. My name is Rebecca. Whether you are with us on site or on Zoom, and whether it is your first time here or one of many times, we are glad you are here with us today. We hope that you stay for coffee, tea, conversation after the service, and of course, friendly feast. The chalice lighter in the sanctuary is Anna. And the chalice lighting words are by Reverend Michelle Collins. We light this chalice as we learn to hold both tenderness and strength. May this flame illuminate the wisdom to know when compassion calls us to offer comfort and when it demands courageous action.
Good morning, I'm Sherry Buchanan, and I'm going to help with Time for All Ages while we have some of our younger people with us. During this time of our annual pledge drive, there's much focus on generosity, the importance of sharing. Generosity is one of our UU values, and I was thinking it's been a while since we've talked about all of our values together. Remember those songs we sang in the flower and that we did a lot, almost a year ago? We're going to watch a video this morning and there will be some hand action to go with it. So feel free to stand up if you want to, remain seating. I'm going to ask the youngsters to help me out if they can by being up front. Anybody else want to come up front before we watch it? And then after we do the video, we'll have time for you guys to go downstairs and do the rest of your activities this morning. Anybody else want to come up? You don't have to be short to come up. Anybody can come up. Well, let's do this. Make sure you can see the screen. Oh, sorry. So, hello, everybody.
Values of Unitarian Universalism. Unitarian Universalism has a set of values, ideas we believe are important. I'm going to help you learn them using my hands. Now, the values can be in any order you like. In this handy way of learning them, each one has a number, so you can follow along with your hands and fingers. We're going to start with the value of transformation. Imagine your fist is a seed. Now slowly unfurl your pointer finger like it's a sprout coming from the seed. Transformation means to adapt to a changing world and to grow spiritually. As your seed grows, it will look like the number 1. And that's how you can remember the first value, transformation. Our next value is equity. Hold up 2 fingers and turn them sideways. See how they kind of look like an equal sign? Equity means that everyone should be treated with inherent worth and dignity. This makes people feel like equals. That's how you can remember the value of equity. Value number 3 is pluralism. Hold up 3 fingers. Imagine 3 people with different ideas about God and who may have different cultures or experiences. Being able to hold many views at once and learn from each other is the value of pluralism. Our next value is justice. We're going to take our forefingers and curl them into a fist and hold it up high. This is a sign of strength. We need to be strong to dismantle racism and fight for justice. Value number 5 is generosity. Hold out your hand as though you are giving someone a gift. Generosity means to share the things you have that make a difference to others, like faith, presence, and resources. Our next value is love. Hold up 6 fingers. Use your pointer finger of one hand to trace a heart in the center of your other hand. Love is at the center of all of our values. Love is the power that holds us together. Our 7th value is interdependence. This is just a fancy word that means we're all connected to each other. Hold up 7 fingers. Walk your 2 fingers from one hand over to the palm of the other hand. Kneel them down to take a close look. Do you see how your palm is full of connecting lines like a web? We are connected and depend on one another. That's how you can remember interdependence. Those are our UU values. Remember that love is at the center and runs through all of our values. You carry love and values in your open mind, helping hands, and loving heart. What will you do with your values today?
Thank you. Very good. Okay, at this point, anyone who wants to go downstairs for other activities is welcome to do so. Paul, are you going to help us sing them out? Thank you guys again. Remember generosity. Oh, we didn't get them sung out. They're gone. I like this song anyway. I like singing it anyway. Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to meet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way. I'm going to do my moment of why I pledge. And you just saw some of it. The children and the youth of our congregation is one of the major reasons that Chuck and I support this church financially and with our time. We want a place where families can be assured that their children and youth can learn these UU values and the richness of a liberal religion. We want our current families to have this, and we want to help guarantee that UU will be here for generations to come. And specifically for this pledge drive, we want to support the possibility of hiring a religious education director. The RE volunteers, Colin and Carrie and Renee and all the volunteers that are helping them are doing a very good job downstairs, but they really need help. And our congregation needs an RE director that can guide many other aspects of church life in all of our generations, not just those that are flourishing downstairs. So the aspirational budget that would allow for us to hire someone during next year is very important. I hope if you haven't made your pledge, you will do so immediately and that you will continue to think about doing so as generously as you can. Thank you. The words of invitation are generous assumptions. Who's doing those? Come forth, Jennifer.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jennifer Dunn. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm really glad to be here with my UU family today. I'm going to be reading the words of invitation and they are called Generous Assumptions by Rosemary Watola Traumer on December 9th, 2024. I would like to open my heart to you and keep it open. But the truth is, sometimes all it takes is a glance, or the lack of a glance, or a certain tone, or a serrated word, and instantly the heart puts on its armor, which is something like a coat of porcupine quills. Only the quills go inward too. And the instant I wear it, I am aware of how much it hurts to wear it. How in that moment, when I seek to protect myself, I wound myself. What if I believed you are doing the best you can, considering the forces that have shaped you? What if I listened past your words, looked through your actions to see how you too feel threatened? The Buddha said we are always moving toward or away from freedom. Could I, in that moment, before the prickly coat has started doing its prickly work, could I move toward freedom by refusing to put it on? Could I choose instead the silken robe of generous assumptions? The one that allows for compassion, connection, even kindness towards you, toward myself? Already just thinking about it being possible, I notice a softening, a curiosity about how I might change not you, but myself. Already I feel how fluid this robe is, how gently it swirls around me, how strong its fibers are, how freeing it is, cool and breezy, this gift to myself. The hymn for the song of the month, back up. The hymn for the month of October is Make Channels for the Streams of Love. This hymn draws its imagery from an ancient story in the Hebrew scriptures. A widow facing crushing debt and the loss of her children turns to the prophet Elisha for help. All she has left is a single jar of oil. Elisha tells her to borrow every empty vessel she can find to start pouring, and miraculously, the oil doesn't run out until every vessel is full. Richard Trench's 19th century poem, set to an American folk tune, takes this story as a metaphor for love. If we prepare open channels, the stream of love will keep flowing, filling every vessel we bring. May we sing these words with the kind of hope that opens hearts and hands. Make Channels for the Streams of Love is number 299 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be on the screens. Eva will play the tune all the way through once before we start singing. Feel free to stand if you'd like.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pharaoh. I use she, her pronouns. I'm on the board here at First UU. Midlife, brown hair, glasses. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. Slips of paper are available at the greeters table for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. Excuse me, I lost my breath running. Hey, Bran, I also left 2 slips of paper under my purse. Can you bring them up here? Thank you. I'll get it together in a second, I promise. During the week, you can send your joys and concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org or by leaving a voicemail on the church phone, 883-3922. And if you're on Zoom, please use the chat box. Okay. All of these joys and concerns will be included in the members' email on Tuesday. We honor each joy or concern with a lighted candle, a symbol of the love we as a community offer for each of these joys and concerns. And this morning, Anna is lighting our candles. So now, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are here together in beloved community. To begin, we hold and love all of us, those present and those absent. We light a candle for our church community. Dacia and Ed share that on Tuesday, their 10-year-old grandniece underwent over 8 hours of brain and head surgery. She's still in the ICU, but healing has begun. We light a candle of concern and gratitude for excellent medical care. We light a candle of concern for Laura P.'s sister Janet, who is trying to recover from a serious strep and staph infection in her leg after 3 falls in a month. From Michael Rodriguez, who says, I can't read this verb, Michael, I'm sorry. Can you say it out loud? I was evicted from my apartment by the end of October. So we light a candle of concern for Michael. From Judy Oliver, she shares a joy. My hammered dulcimer is good as new because David Darby was able to recondition it. From Mark McGinn, who shares, I want to express my joy and thanks to our congregation. You all have helped Judy and me with your generous support and love. Your support has been the essence of care and love. We light a candle of joy for Mark and Judy. From Becca G, a concern. A friend in the community is being deported this week. They leave behind 2 children they've been caring for after the children's parents were previously deported. We light a candle of concern. From Zoom. Concern from Zoom attendees. Those of us on Zoom are missing Barbara Watson, who was a steady presence for all of us. We light a candle of memory and appreciation for Barbara. And we light a candle for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken in our hearts. Let us now join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
Good morning. Just want to make sure, can you hear me? Okay, good. I'll start then. My name is Mark McGinn. I've been absent for a month while I've been repairing as my wife. I'm an elderly gent, tall, very thin, long gray hair, and I'm wearing mostly that gray and black. The week of October 5th in UU history. Samuel Johnson was born in Salem, Massachusetts on October 10th, 1822. A graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Divinity School, he spent several years as a regular guest preacher for Unitarian churches in eastern Massachusetts. From 1853 to 1870, he served as the minister of the Unitarian Church of Lynn, Massachusetts. His Lynn congregation was notable for having equal seating and voluntary donations rather than pew purchasing. In 1846, in partnership with Samuel Longfellow, Johnson published Book of Hymns. Unitarian minister Theodore Parker dubbed this hymnal the Book of Psalms. Johnson was a transcendentalist and an abolitionist and authored 3 volumes on Oriental religion. He died in 1882 at the age of 60. Offering our gifts to support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways we live into justice and equality together. Some of us have much to give and some have little, and together it is enough. To work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. If electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfieldedu.org, springfieldedu.org. The offertory is Can I See Another Woe, with words of William Blake, music from Veni Redemptor Gentium, I hope I did that, arranged by John Prescott, performed by our choir.
Thank you to the choir. Good morning. I am Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the minister here at First UU. I'm a middle-aged woman with short, spiky, salt and pepper hair, mostly salt, and wearing navy pants today and a plaid shirt as usual. This month, we are entering into a conversation about cultivating compassion. And I like to pull some information from the Soul Matters small group materials at the beginning of the month to help us orient ourselves in the theme for that month. And here's what was there this week when I went to check. It's tempting to think of this month's theme as one of our lighter, more pleasant ones. After all, compassion sounds, well, nice. It conjures warm feelings and tender thoughts. Images come to mind of people telling each other they are holding them in their hearts. It would seem to be all about emotional connection and empathetic feeling. But then along comes a quote like this: "Compassion hurts. When you feel connected to everything, you also feel responsible for everything, and you cannot turn away. Your destiny is bound with the destinies of others." From Andrew Boyd. Or this from the UN Charter for Compassion: "True compassion is to engage in the suffering of others." Both remind us that compassion is not just niceness and thoughtful feelings. It's about something deeper, an impulse that drives us to action. If you will remember just a few minutes back to Rosemary's poem, Generous Assumptions, I'll share just a little bit of the ending of that poem. Could I, in that moment before the prickly coat has started doing its prickly work, could I move toward freedom by refusing to put it on? Could I choose instead the silken robe of generous assumptions? The one that allows for compassion, connection, even kindness toward you, toward myself. Already, just thinking about it being possible, I notice a softening, a curiosity about how I might change, not you, but myself. Already, I feel how fluid this robe is, how gently it swirls around me, how strong its fibers are. How freeing it is, cool and breezy, this gift to myself. If you are like me, you have worn the prickly coat at some point this week. I'm a human and I'm pretty transparent, so I'll share with you the ridiculous argument that I had with my wife at some point this week, in which she said something that was of no consequence at all. But I immediately put on the prickly coat and responded in a way that she then put on the prickly coat. And it was very prickly in our household for the next several hours. It wasn't until the next morning that either of us were able to put on the smooth flowing robe. And again, the whole thing was about something that was of no consequence. It didn't matter to either one of us. But once we both put on the prickly coat, it suddenly became important. Whether it's a word from a loved one, a glance, or as the words earlier said, the lack of a glance, a tone, whatever it is, it's so easy for us to get ourselves in the prickly coat. And once we're there, friends, it's hard to get out. And so it seems that we have to build something in to keep us from getting there. I read somewhere in some brain science thing that once our amygdala takes us to that place of anger or fear or whatever that sort of irrational response is, it takes us about 20 minutes to get out of it. And that's if we stop. We can never get to the 20 minutes if we don't stop and try to reset ourselves. And so there is wisdom in taking a pause, certainly, from those conversations or experiences that have us finding ourselves in the prickly coat. What happens when compassion becomes our first reflex and not our last resort? Now, if I'm honest, in that example I gave you of the ridiculous argument that I had with my wife earlier this week, when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't that I was feeling some sort of loving outreach. I wanted to make amends. It was that I didn't want to do the thing again. So I decided to enter with compassion into the conversation. It was my last resort. What if it had been my first response, my reflex? I once preached a sermon that has haunted me for about the last, 14 years, in which I said, what if we kept our mouth shut until we got to grace? Now, I think we can substitute the word compassion for grace here this morning. What if when something happens in our presence that causes us to want to put on the prickly coat, we don't say anything until we can get ourselves to a compassionate response? Friends, I think that would change a whole lot about our daily interactions. I think there would be transformation in that. The title of today's message is A Circle of Compassion, because compassion isn't just a one-way thing, and it's not a linear thing. It is a thing that we offer to others that benefits both the giver and the receiver. And when we're both in the space where we're benefiting from compassion, everything changes in our midst, which means that my relationship, my interactions with other people change because of the compassionate action that I've taken in this relationship, or the compassionate action that someone has taken with me. And so the circle grows wider and wider, the circle of compassion that welcomes us in, that gives us space to grow and learn together, that gives us space to be transformed. And a circle has no hierarchy. There's no one above or below. When we're operating in the space of compassion, we are operating as equals. We are operating in equity. We've talked recently about the first principle of Unitarian Universalism, the inherent worth and dignity of every human. The second principle of Unitarian Universalism is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And when we bring all of that together into the circle, we are creating an environment in which we are transformed, and we take that action and that feeling out into the world. Speaking of action and feelings, it might be easy to get confused between the words empathy, compassion, and altruism. So I will offer to you that empathy is feeling with another. It doesn't necessarily involve action. It's all about the feeling that you have. Where altruism is selfless action that may flow from compassion, but is distinct. Altruism often has other motives than compassion. Compassion is the feeling with another plus the desire to help that moves us to action. It might be helpful to think of the phrase compassionate action as opposed to just the word compassion. Here's what you might not know. Compassion literally means to suffer together or to suffer with. Among emotion researchers, it's defined as the feeling that arises when you're confronted with another's suffering and you feel motivated to relieve that suffering. So to enter into the suffering of another person. You might be interested in knowing that compassion slows the heart rate, releases oxytocin, and activates caregiving and pleasure centers in the brain. Compassion is good for us. Our bodies are wired for connection, and compassion isn't just a soft sentiment, it's a deep evolutionary survival strategy. And while researchers map compassion in heartbeats and brain scans, spiritual communities have long recognized it as the heartbeat of our shared life. Compassion is at the intersection of biology and belief. It's not just something that we feel, it's something that we choose, something that we build together, something that we practice. You'll hear me talk a lot about practice because, quite frankly, I don't think we know anything. And quite frankly, I don't care what you believe. But what I do care about is that we practice the values that we name in Unitarian Universalism, that we practice being good people together, that we practice creating the world that we want to live in. And so it is this practice. In the UN Charter for Compassion, it says around the world, people of many faiths and no faith have all joined in for a commitment to this charter of compassion that says compassion impels us to work tirelessly to alleviate the suffering of our fellow creatures, to dethrone ourselves from the center of our world and put another there, to honor the inviolable sanctity of every single human being. I feel like there might have been some UUs involved in the creation of the UN Charter for Compassion. You might also be interested in knowing that this year for the 16th anniversary, which is an odd anniversary to do a thing for, but they're working on the Charter for Compassion 2.0. And have been seeking input via a website where people can talk about what it means to them to live in a compassionate world. I have posted in several places around the building, in the hallway, on the bulletin board, on the table by the kitchen, and over there on the whiteboard, a copy of the full Charter for Compassion that you can feel free to check out. Compassion is important. Compassion is as simple as walking through the grocery store and seeing someone bump up against the container where the oranges are. You know how they always like really precariously stack them so that if you just look at it wrong, all the oranges will fall on the floor and you will suffer the greatest embarrassment of, I mean, maybe probably not your life, but maybe your week. Compassion is when we stop what we're doing and we almost instinctively bend down and start picking up the oranges with the person and putting them back where they belong, if for nothing else to help alleviate their discomfort, because we have entered into their suffering in that moment and it is ours too. I don't know who in this room is interested in the Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 3. And sometimes when something's going on in my space, if my wife is there with me, she's an Enneagram 2, which is a helper. No matter what's happening, she is convinced that we have to stop right now and help with it. And my wiring says that that's none of my business. So I'm thankful for the people around us who pull us out of it said, taking ourselves off the throne in our own lives. The people who help us to know that whatever's going on around us, that's someone else's suffering, is probably always our business in some way. Not that we have to know everything, not that we have to get nosy, but that we should help in any way that we can. That's compassion. Last night I was at the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner, and the guest speaker was someone from Oklahoma, a former senator from Oklahoma. And she was telling a story of this being the first time she had been back to Springfield in decades. But her memory of Springfield was that when she was a college student in Pennsylvania, her family had come to pick her up, and they were on their way from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma City. And in Springfield, they experienced a car accident where their car went into the median and flipped a couple of times. And the roof of the car was smashed down against the steering wheel. Everyone survived. There were some injuries. She came out of it with just a scratch. But the thing that she remembered was that the car that was traveling behind them stopped and didn't just make sure that they were okay. They stayed the whole time while the police and ambulance came, and then they followed the family to the hospital, and then they drove them to Oklahoma City. That's compassion. It would have been so easy for that car to say, man, I'm sorry that happened, and just move on. It would have been easy to make sure that they stayed with them until the police and EMS came and let them take it from there. But they entered into the suffering of that family in such a way that they weren't going to leave them until they knew that they were home safe. How beautiful is that? And what if we lived in a world where that's how we operated? And what if we can create that world? Because we can start it in our circle and let it radiate out into bigger and bigger circles. As I think about the video that we watched this morning with the UU values, I think about the values that are connected to compassionate action, transformation. We are transformed when we enter into the suffering of another person. We will never leave that experience unchanged. And always changed for the better. Do you remember the transformation? Okay, good one. All right. The next value that I think is connected here is generosity. Generosity, right? Where we hold out our hand. And then interdependence. That one was a little more complicated. It was 7, 5, 7, the 2 fingers, and we knelt down and the web, right? So compassion helps us to live our UU values in at least those 3 ways. So I want to encourage us to engage with the opportunities for compassion as we go throughout the coming week. Sometimes it's easier to enact compassion in those places with the people that you don't know. But for those opportunities for compassion in the places with our loved ones who often get the worst responses that we have to offer, I would offer you these steps. Pause when you feel the prickly coat coming on. Take a deep breath, as long as it takes. Ask yourself, what if they're doing the best they can? And what if I am too? And then choose generous assumptions. And then, when you can give a compassionate response, open your mouth and your heart and your hands. I invite you to try that practice this week. Now, here's another tip. You should talk about it with the people around you so they know that when you look like a deer in the headlights and you're not saying or doing anything, that there's actually an internal process going on. And ask in your relationships if you can create the space for compassion to rise up, to put on that flowing, smooth garment instead of the prickly coat when those opportunities arise. So my charge for you this week is, may you clothe yourselves in silk instead of quills. May you widen the circle until all are held, including yourself. And in that circle, May you discover a freedom big enough for all of us. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. The interlude is In My Life by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, performed by Eva. Friends, as we move toward our closing and prepare to leave this place today, may you carry with you the quiet strength of compassion, a way of moving gently through the world. May you meet others with generous assumptions, and may you offer yourself that same grace. May the circle that you draw this week be wide, and may it hold both giver and receiver in its embrace. Before our final hymn, I want to say a couple of things that might have been left out. Next Sunday, we will have a Pathways to Membership conversation right after church. So if you're thinking about membership or just more curious about what in the world is Unitarian Universalism, this is a conversation that you might want to be a part of. So do plan to stay for that. And just a reminder, if you're doing the Soul Matters small group downstairs today, please go to the front of the food line, grab your food and bring it downstairs to the library. Our final hymn today is This Is My Song. It's number 159 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be on the screens. Feel free to sit or stand, dance or be still, whatever it is that you'd like to do. And then if you are standing, you can remain standing for our chalice extinguishing.
Of
would invite Anna to come to extinguish our chalice. We always say at this point, we extinguish our communal and personal chalices. And that's a reminder that all these folks are on Zoom with us. And some of them have chalices lit in their personal spaces as well. So we will now extinguish our communal and personal chalices and close with our unison sending words. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins anew. Go in peace, friends.